Good morning, one and all. Welcome to this class on Simpson's paradox and the effect of skewed support distribution. So this topic comes under the third unit of the data mining subject. So I'll be today discussing about the Simpson's paradox and the effect of skewed support distribution. It is important to exercise caution when interpreting the association between variables because the observed relationship may be influenced by the presence of other factors, that is hidden variables that are not included in the analysis. In some cases, the hidden variables may cause the observed relationship between a pair of variables to disappear or reverse its direction. This phenomenon is called as Simpson's paradox. See, what he says is, whenever a data is given, the meaning of that data will completely change when you divide the data or segregate the data. So the data has to be dealt in depth so that we can clearly understand the association between the variables. For example, if you see this particular table, this table is a two-way contingency table which is relating the sale of high definition television and exercise machine. The 99 number indicates that so many people, that is 99 persons, have bought the HDTV as well as the exercise machine. 81 indicates that 81 people have bought the HDTV but they have not bought the exercise machine. This 180 indicates that particularly the number of persons who have brought the purchased the HDTV. Similarly, this 54 count indicates that number of persons who have only purchased the exercise machine. Like that, we can interpret these numbers. Now, suppose if you want to derive the relationship between the sale of the high definition TV HDTV and the exercise machine. In such a case, suppose the rule is HDTV yes means the person who has brought. Please observe this rule. This rule says that the person who brought or purchased the HDTV has also purchased the exercise machine. Now to calculate the confidence of this rule, how do you calculate the confidence of this rule? The confidence of this rule is calculated like uh, the support count of how many have brought both the HDTV, correct? How many have brought both the HDTV and the exercise machine if I take it as M, divided by the number of persons who have only purchased the HDTV. That gives the confidence of this rule. I hope you remember. Okay, I'm just trying to write the formula here of how to calculate the confidence of this rule. So what he has done basically here is the confidence of this rule HDTV, yes, the person who has purchased HDTV has also purchased exercise machine. So the confidence of this rule is support count of the number of persons who have purchased both HDTV and exercise machine, which is 99, correct? Persons who have purchased both HDTV and exercise machine divided by those who have purchased only HDTV, that is 180. 99 divided by 180 gives you 55%. Similarly, suppose you want to calculate the confidence of this rule, HDTV is no, person who has purchased HDTV, or sorry, person who has not purchased HDTV has purchased exercise machine. The confidence of this rule is calculated. How this is particularly calculated 54 by 120. How do you get 54 by 120? This is given as the support count of exercise, those who are not HGTV, those who are not purchased HGTV, correct, and those who have purchased exercise machine, which is equal to how much? No, yes, that is 54, correct. 54 divided by, we have to take support count of HGTV, no, support count of HGTV no is 120. That's why 54 divided by 120. You will get 54 divided by 120, which is 45%. Now if you please observe the confidence of these two rules, clearly these two rules, 55% is greater than 45%. So these rules suggest that the customers who buy or who have purchased the HDTV, high definition television, are more likely to purchase the exercise machines. That's what these rules suggest. Correct? If you observe, the 55% is greater than 45%. Hence, we can clearly understand or clearly observe that this rule has more stronger. HDTV yes produces exercise machine yes is more stronger than this rule. HDTV no implies exercise machine yes. Correct? But if you go more deeper, so if you go more deeper, now if you see the second table he has given here, now the same table, that is the previous table, has been divided like this. The previous table has been divided like this. What he has done is he has now divided the table into two things, two customers, college students and working adults. The previous table, it has been divided like this. So basically if you see here, he has divided the data, and this gives a pattern of how many college students have purchased HGTV and exercise machine, and how many working adults have purchased HGTV and exercise machine, right? Now if you observe this, here he has calculated clearly the confidence of the rule HGTVS produces exercise machine. It is equal to 1 by 10. This is for the college students. So college students, if you observe here, yes comma yes, correct, s comma s is 1 divided by 10. What is 10? 10 means those who have bought only HGTV, 1 by 10. Similarly, confidence of HGTV is equal to no, derives exercise machine yes. So no comma yes, no comma yes is 4 divided by only HGTV no. Only HGTV no is 34, correct, 11.8%. Similar confidence is calculated for this table. It is the second table. Here what he has done, again confidence of HGTV yes produces exercise machine yes is yes comma yes. Yes comma yes is 98 divided by working adults divided by HGTV yes. Only HGTV yes is, if you observe, 170, correct, 98 divided by 170. Similarly, confidence of the second rule, it says HGTV no. HGTV no comma yes. No comma yes is 50, correct, divided by only support count of HGTV no, which is nothing but 86. Now if you observe this, the complete relationship has been changed. What here it suggests is, if you observe the college students and the working adults, if you observe, the complete relationship between the sale of the HGTV and the exercise machine has changed. If you see, 11.8% is greater than 10%. So this suggests that person who has not brought the HGTV has purchased the exercise machine. Similarly, here if you see, 58.1% is greater than 57.7%. This clearly indicates that the confidence, or the person who has not brought the HGTV, purchased the HGTV, has purchased the exercise machine. Its confidence is more. Whereas in the previous table, if you observe, there was a stronger relationship between persons who purchased HGTV. It also indicated that he had purchased the exercise machine. So this reversal in the direction, this particular thing is called as the Simpson's paradox. That's what it says. The rule suggests that for each group, customers who do not buy his high definition televisions are more likely to buy exercise machines, which contradict the previous conclusion when data from the two customers are pooled together. Even if alternative measures such as correlation, odds ratio, or interests are applied, we still find that the sale of HDTV and exercise machine is positively correlated in the combined data, but it is negatively correlated in the stratified data. The reversal in the direction of association is known as the Simpson's paradox. So that's what, even if you apply other formulas other than the confidence, other formulas, if you remember, correlation is there, odds ratio is there, interest factor is there. Even if you apply those formulas, you will find that the sale of the HDTV and exercise machine, it is positive in the combined data, that is the aggregated data. But when it is divided, when the data is divided into data between college students and the working adults, you find that the particular relationship is negative. This reversal is called as the Simpson's paradox. So to combine this, he has just given a larger picture here. If you see this formula, A by B less than C by D and P by Q less than R by S. Now what he has done is, this is if you, they may represent a confidence. Or B and B or P or Q may represent the confidence of the rule into different data. Now when you add A plus P, if you add the particular rules, the complete direction has changed. It has become greater than. You see. Here it was less than, but here it has become greater than. So the association between the major logic behind the Simpson's paradox is the relationship in the combined data between the variables is different, and if you divide the data into more, if you go deeper into the data, the relationship might completely get reversed. So you have to be careful while analyzing the data. That is this phenomenon is called as Simpson's paradox. So this completes the particular uh, topic on Simpson's paradox. So the next related topic is on effect of skewed support distribution. The performances of many association analysis algorithms are influenced by properties of their input data. For example, the computational complexity of the a priori algorithm depends on the properties such as the number of items in the data and the average transaction width. This section examines another important property that has significant influence on the performance of association analysis algorithms as well as the quality of the extracted patterns. More specifically, we focus on the datasets with skewed support distributions where most of the items have relatively low to moderate frequencies, but a small number of them have very high frequencies. See, what he is suggesting is, this topic basically deals, suppose you have a dataset where items from one category dominate items from another category. For example, there are 10 records, and out of the 10 records, if 8 records are only belonging to a particular item called bread, and only two records are belonging to uh, items from other category like milk. In such a case, we say that data set is biased or has a skewed support. Skewed means biased. There is one item is completely dominating, or certain items are completely dominating the data set. So this can be explained with an example. See, for example, here in this particular textbook, he has taken a data from public use micro data sample, which is a census data. It basically consisted of 49,046 records with 2,113 asymmetric binary variables, and basically 80% of the items had less support than 1%, and a handful of them had support greater than 90%. So you please observe this particular graph here. If you see, only some up till nearly 2000, the support is very less than 1%. But if you see here, only certain items are having high support. So this is a skewed support data set. So he has divided this data set in three groups. So basically what he has done here is G1, G2, G3 he has divided. The group G1 is having 1735 items. All these items have a support less than 1%. Group G2 is having 358 items, and the support of this is lying between 1 to 90%. And group G3 is having 20 items with support greater than 90%. So this is a skewed support distribution because uh, less than 1% there are more items if you observe, and greater than 90% or high support items are less. And this to choose the correct right support threshold for mining this data set is tricky, because if you set the support threshold very high like 20%, then whatever item 1735 items which are less than 20% will be completely eliminated, because please remember that uh, frequent item sets are the item sets which are greater than the given support threshold. So all those items will be greater than the which are greater than the support threshold are frequent items. Now if you set the threshold too high, like 20%, you are going to eliminate these 1735 items or more which are less than the support threshold 20%. So what happens is low support items in market basket analysis, such low support items may correspond to some expensive products such as jewelry, etc. Okay, but these patterns are interesting to the retailers. But if you are, similarly, if you set the threshold too low, okay, if you set the threshold too low, then more number of items will be generated, right? So some difficulties he has observed here. First, the computational and memory requirements of the existing association analysis increases, right? Because if low support threshold is selected, number of frequent items generated will be more. Naturally, the memory requirement will be very high and the algorithms will suffer. Similarly, secondly, the number of extracted patterns also increases, correct? That's a common thing. And finally, we may extract spurious patterns. Yeah, this is the next topic actually that we'll be dealing. It is called cross support patterns. Cross support patterns means uh, the patterns in which one item, which is high frequency item, is related to a low frequency item. For example, high frequency like milk is related to a low frequency item like caviar. Such a thing is called cross support item, and these should be eliminated because they cause confusion in the extracted items. So the cross support pattern is given by this particular formula. A cross support pattern is an item set X, I1, I2 up to Ik, whose support ratio Rx is equal to minimum of support of, S means support here, support of item I1, comma support of item I2 up to support of item Ik, divided by maximum of support I1, comma support I2 up to support Ik. This is less than a user specified threshold HC. So I think you will clearly understand with the help of this example. Suppose the support for milk is 70%, while the support for sugar is 10% and caviar is 0.04%. Given HC is equal to 0.01, the frequent item set milk, sugar, caviar is a cross support pattern because its support ratio. So please calculate the support ratio using this formula. Minimum of support ratio of the milk is 70%, that is 0.7. Support ratio of sugar is 10%, so 0.1. Support ratio of caviar is 0.0%, that is 0.0004. Similarly, you please take the maximum in the denominator according to this formula. Again, I repeat, he has given the support of milk, sugar and caviar, correct? You are calculating the min and max of those supports. You will get some value. If this value is less than the given threshold, HC, then it is a cross support pattern and it can be eliminated from the particular item set. That's what it says. And threshold here was given was 0.01, and since the ratio is 0.00058, which is less than the threshold, this is a cross support pattern and it can be eliminated. So this again, if you take another table PQR, now if I calculate the support of P, how many ones are there? If I calculate 25 ones are there, total records are 30, 25 by 30, that is the support of P. Similarly, support of Q is 5 ones are there, 5 divided by total items are 30. Similarly, support of R is 5 by 30. You will get 0.83, 0.167, 0.167 as a support of PQR, correct? Now you please calculate the ratio. Minimum of the support of all the three divided by maximum of the support of all the three, correct? Minimum of 0.83, 0.167, 0.167 is which one? 0.167 divided by maximum of 0.83, 0.167, 0.167 is what? 0.83. So you will get 0.167 divided by 0.83, which is 0.201, which is less than the given threshold 0.3. So this PQR cross support pattern and it can be eliminated from the item sets. So this is basically, if you observe here, the P, this is a skewed data set having skewed support, because if you observe, the support of P is very high because it is occurring in almost all the transactions, whereas Q and R, their support is very less. So whenever items with high frequency get correlated with low frequency, then it is called as cross support patterns that needs to be eliminated in order to provide a better association between the variables. That is the rules. Thank you. That concludes the Simpson's paradox and the skewed support distribution. And this was a part of the third unit. And a small unit is remaining on the additional topics on a priori, which I will take up in the next class. Thank you.